We did get some exit polling from NBC News. Majority of men under the age of 30 in the states of New Jersey, Virginia, and the city of New York voted for the Democratic candidate in their respective races.
That's
young men.
Huge shift.
In New Jersey, exit polling shows 68% of Latino voters cast a ballot for Democratic candidate Mikey Sherrill, pushing up against 70% there.
Massive shift back.
In Virginia, exit polling shows 67% of Latino voters voted for Democrat Abigail Spanberger versus 32% who went for Republican Winsome Earl Sears. So, Dave Weigel, just looking at some of that exit polling and going back again to New Jersey, I was talking about Hudson and Passaic counties, heavily Latino counties there. A 22-point swing in Hudson County back from the Trump election of last year to Mikey Sherrill. She won by 50 points there. And in Passaic County, a 15-point swing back from Trump toward Mikey Sherrill. So these are counties that not just Democrats in New Jersey were looking at, but Democrats across the country to see which way are things trending right now.
Yeah, you nailed it. That's what a lot of Democrats are talking about for a month. What is going to happen in North Jersey? How sticky are those Hispanic voters who moved to Trump? The answer is no. They rented Trump for one election. They didn't come back for anyone else. Democrats gained, both in Virginia and New Jersey, gained in state legislative races bigger than they thought they would. So down the ballot, Latinos who took a chance on Trump were not coming back. And you were talking about the Democratic campaigning. They get criticized for bringing up Trump. They were both very consistent in a way that's not necessarily exciting for reporters to cover. And I want to stick on that point because Democrats were campaigning kind of like an hour hand. You talked to them in June. They were talking about the cost of housing, cost of living, energy prices. You talked to them in October. They were talking about the same thing, not about whatever Trump was saying that day or the latest scandal of the week or the latest tweet, the latest outrage. They ran very consistent campaigns and got back voters who voted for them when they were running consistent campaigns in 2016 and 2020, or I should say 2012 and 2020. So I saw a lot of criticism of the way Spanberger and Sherrill were running because they were not exciting, and voters were a little bit fed up with exciting in important ways.
Yeah, and there's also no question some of this was a response to Trump overreaction. On the New Jersey race, I heard from two different operatives last night, one Republican, one Democrat, who more or less said the same thing, one word: Gateway. The tunnel that Trump killed, the project that would have helped.
He was bragging about it.
2
weeks before the election, bragging about having a Darth Vader. He basically said, I killed that project.
A tunnel that would have really helped New Jersey residents commuting into New York City. He killed it out of spite.
Jobs.
Would have created jobs out of spite because he's angry at Charles Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries because of the shutdown. And Democrats who were very nervous about this race and who were frankly surprised by the margin of victory last night said the Gateway Tunnel was sort of the turning point. And then, of course, on the other side of that tunnel, Claire, we have New York City. And we have Zohran Mamdani with his stunning victory here, defeating Andrew Cuomo handily by 9 or so points. And look, it's very clear that President Trump is going to use Mamdani as an excuse. I've been told and reported and wrote about it last night. They've kind of held off going after New York City, tunnel aside, because they wanted Mamdani to win. They're going to go after him now. We'll see if that's popular, though. It has not been when he's gone after other cities. But for Democrats, it also shows sort of a big tent night, right? You have a Democratic socialist here in New York City winning and far more moderate candidates in Virginia and New Jersey.
Yeah, everyone who says, oh, is Mamdani the new face of the party? We have lots of faces in the party. We have moderate helicopter pilots that are women in Virginia. We've got, folks across the spectrum. And that's really the story of last night. You can't win in some states with the stuff that Mamdani is for. You can't. In some states, it won't work. But that doesn't mean he's not charismatic, a fresh face, an outsider, and figured out how to campaign in a way that's very effective. Democrats can learn a lot from the way he campaigned. And the one thing I think is interesting about last night is I think you're going to watch Wes Moore and J.B. Pritzker get on board quickly on this redistricting thing, because this thing for Newsom turned out to be a proxy for presidential campaigning.
Yeah.
He is now moved to the front of the pack because he took this risk and rolled the dice. Now the pressure is on J.B. Pritzker to do something in Illinois and Wes Moore and they're all running for president. I don't know how Josh Shapiro is going to get on the act, but all of them are jockeying right now to be, if you're going to talk about a face of the party, the presidential nominee in 2026.
Gavin Newsom really out front. front at playing Trump at his own game on every level, whether it be social media trolling, which has been off the hook, spectacular. I mean, and then on top of it, now with the Prop 50, I think we're seeing something happening here that other governors can take a look at.
How do Republicans face these election results this morning?
Well, what they should do, and we're going to have to see how much they internalize this, but what they should do is understand that Donald Trump and his style of politics is very human, just as they learned in 2017, 2018, and 2020. The way they have approached the second term is they've seen higher numbers for Trump than in his first term. They've seen lower numbers for Democrats than in his first term. They saw a demographic shift in their direction in 2024. And that gave them the confidence to not be as worried about midterm elections as they were 8 years ago. And 8 years ago, they were petrified. I think there's going to be a lot of reassessment.
I mean, that was everything you just said was erased last night.
Correct. And I think there is going to be a lot of reassessment. They're not going to say it out loud.
No.
Because contradicting Trump gets them into trouble, and primary season is right around the corner. You can't win a general if you're not renominated. They need his endorsement in most of these primaries. But I think you're going to see a lot of reassessment. The way they should understand this is the fact that the issues that could sink them next year are what propelled so many voters to show up yesterday. It's not the Democratic victories. It's the breadth of the victories. It's the demographic shift back in a leftward direction that has to have them very concerned with slim majorities. And this is the sort of thing where even though their Senate majority is in much better shape, just given red states, blue states, you let things get out of control and the unusual begins to happen. Yeah,
it really does. It really could. I will say I was struck last night. We ought to talk about it more in a bit, just stylistically. I'd always said Republicans need to be conservative ideologically and moderate temperamentally. Of course, in the age of Trump, they've gone in the exact opposite direction, record-setting debt, record-setting budgets, and then just meanness. I mean, meanness for the purpose of being mean. If you're Kristi Noem, you stand in front of prisoners in El Salvador, in the most notorious prison, and you want the shot to show how mean you are, how tough you are. Meanness on TV, on podcasts. And it's just like owning the libs, being angry, mocking people, ridiculing people. Last night, Abigail Spanberger stood up and she did something that Donald Trump would never do. I mean, she bent over backwards talking about the service of her opponent who she had just beaten, and told people to stop and reflect on that and to thank her for her service. And then she went on and she gave a speech. And what did she talk about? The importance of grace, the importance of kindness, the importance of seeing every Virginian in the Commonwealth as a common partner in making Virginia a better place. And she kept talking about them doing it while being nice.
It's a good thing we have 4 hours. We'll have much more ahead on last night's election results, and New Jersey's governor-elect, Mikey Sherrill, joins us on the heels of her big win. Also ahead, the latest from Capitol Hill as we enter day 36 of the government shutdown. And President Trump creates confusion over SNAP benefits and a reminder to sign up for our relaunched newsletter, The Tea, spilled by Morning Joe. Get our hot takes on the day's news, politics, sports, music, entertainment, and much more, plus a direct line to the Morning Joe family, straight to your inbox. Scan the QR code on your screen or go to msnbc.com/the tea. Spilled by Morning Joe. We'll be right back.